Well, I don't know. Liz, do you have a vote for what hat she should wear tonight?
I this is so weird, but we just watched the Penguin start of the Penguin game in Tampa Bay, and it literally started with them honoring all of the people that have received the Medal of Honor. And there's only like 70 some people in the US that have earned it, and 40 some of them were on the ice tonight. So that's my vote.
There you go, Brandy. There's your answer.
Done.
All right, I hit the record button already.
Oh.
Oh, you have a beach body hat on.
Yeah, from my coach cam. And always at the beginning of the call, we do Jesus Calling, and it's a quick one today. So, welcome to the Bomb Squad team call for Wednesday night, October 23rd, 2019. This is what the verse says today, the lesson. As you turn your attention to me, feel the light of my presence shining upon you. Let me see why this isn't on speaker view here. One moment, please. There we go. I don't want to be on speaker view. I want to be able to see. There we go. Okay. As you turn your attention to me, feel the light of my presence shining upon you. Open your mind and heart to receive my heavenly smile of approval. Let my gold-tinged love wash over you and soak into the depths of your being. As you are increasingly filled with my being, you experience joyous union with me. I in you and you in me. Your joy in me and my joy in you become intertwined and inseparable. I suffuse your soul with joy in my presence. At my right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. That's from John 17, 2023, and Psalm chapter 16, verse 11. It's always funny how that puts me in a better mood because I've been in a bad mood, people.
Why are you in such a bad mood? More phone calls?
I don't want to take up our recording with a whole bunch of stories, but I've been on this downward spiral of Texas Roadhouse rolls and butter, watching The Joker, which put me in a huge depression and gave me nightmares.
You guys all froze.
Oh, I'm still here. You still here, Liz? Maybe it's you who froze, Coach Brandon.
No!
And see, that's what the downward spiral does to us. It just freezes her out. She doesn't want to hear this BS. And fast food now every day. I ate I went in the cookie aisle last night at Walmart and ate an entire box of pecan sandies. I've been drinking this drink that tastes like sugar water, and it's putting sugar in my mind, I think, and I am on a mess. I could even take you in the other room if I wasn't on my desktop and show you the bags of chips. I ate 2 full bags of chips, 1 box of cookies today for my nutrition, and I don't do this ever, especially in my own home. So I was going to cancel this call, but your girl Liz made a video today, put it in the team page, and said there's a team call at 8:15. So I was like, I guess I got to step it up. Haven't even showered since before hip hop class, which means my Monday night still caked on my body. It's the hot mess call. But
this is why you're single.
As you know, there's no smell-o-vision.
Reason number 982.
And as we know, no one watches the recordings, so no one's ever even going to know any of this happened.
Dude, while you were watching Jesus Calling, it was an epic, so you better rewatch it.
While I was watching Jesus Calling?
Or reading Jesus Calling.
You mean I need to watch the replay because something happened?
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys like making faces behind my back or something? Okay, you say so. All right, so the first announcement I wanted to make, I wrote it right down right here, is she going to come back? Or should I just say it? I guess I'm going to say it. Thank you to Liz for being a leader today and getting me out a little bit out of my funk. And thank you to Coach Brandy, who has offered up her home for the entire team to come and hang out at a BYOB, bring your own bacon, team brunch. Hopefully Brandy gets us on the replay. And Brandy, I want you to know that I think it's effing awesome that you would invite people into your home. You would offer that. I know it's stressful to invite people into your home, to have a little party, a little get together. And I just wanted to say thank you. And if there's anything I can do to help you with that or to, promote that or whatever, I'm your guy. I appreciate being invited to do anything ever, especially when it involves cleaning your own house, sorting it, unhoarding it, all the things that go on when you invite people into your home. Okay, so I'm going to share my desktop. You putting up a finger there? Oh.
Well, just make sure if anyone actually does watch the recording that they know the date of the brunch is Sunday, November 3rd, correct?
Sunday, November 3rd.
And everyone's invited.
Randy's house, in accordance with Super Weekend, which is Friday, November 1st, Saturday, November 2nd. Those events are in downtown Pittsburgh. And if you have questions, you can reach out to one of us and we'll let you know about them. But yes, in accordance with that, accordance, is that the word? Conjunction? I don't know. In addition to the Beachbody events that are going on, we have some fun team stuff planned. Is there any news on the possible Saturday afternoon or evening event, or is that not confirmed?
Yeah, I believe so. Super Weekend is next weekend, November 1st and 2nd here in Pittsburgh. We have an event at the Omni Friday night and Saturday morning. That event, we believe, is going to end around 11 or noonish. We're not certain yet, but we're hoping it ends around that time because it starts at 8 a.m. After that event, we are hosting a vision board party for everyone, led by one of my friends that I went to college with. She hosts these vision board parties. She is like I don't even know what to say. She knows how to read your aura and like give Reiki sessions and all that kind of stuff. She's going to do a vision board party with us where she lights candles and gets rid of all the negative energy. And she's going to bring fun little cutout magazine pieces for us to all filter through and add to like a 12 by 12 vision board that we are personally making. It's a 2-hour session, Saturday, November 2nd. And I'm pretty sure that's going to happen at Coach Brandy's house as well. So Saturday, November 2nd, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon is what we're aiming for. I have a follow-up call with Brandy and Kaylee, who is going to run the event for us tomorrow. So we're going to iron everything out tomorrow for the official event before we tell everybody all the details.
Okay, so Friday, November 1st in Pittsburgh, there's presentations by people who have made over $1 million in this company that we're all part of. Friday evening, a bunch of us are going to stay overnight in downtown Pittsburgh at the Omni William Penn, which is where the event is. Saturday morning, there's a workout with super trainer Jericho Matthews. And then there's training and recognition and some other things going on at the Omni. Then the girls will go to lunch. Then they will go to this vision board party that Brandy and Liz have organized for you guys. At Brandy's house is the tentative meeting spot, which is in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. Saturday evening, we will either be hanging out at Brandy's house and just having like fun little team bonding event, or going out on the town. And then that Sunday morning, November 3rd, is the team brunch. All of you are invited to all, part, some, any of that you can make it to. Anything else with that, Liz? All right. So your girl Liz, her team name is Team Brunch, so it's kind of a good fit for her. Okay. Now, where do I go to share? Never find it. Share desktop. We're going to buzz through this chapter. And for those of you who don't know, we've been reading this personal development book, which basically talks about the type of business that we're in, which is multi-level, or network marketing. And some of us have been in other companies that are set up in a similar way. And some people, most people in the country, have no idea what the power of multi-level could be or do for you and your family, your future. So this book that we've been reading, we got cut off last week on the end of page 71. So I'm just going to read that last paragraph as we start here. But this will give you the, I don't know what the word is, the tools or the basis to understand the power of everybody doing a little bit and benefiting a lot, instead of one or two people doing a lot and maybe only that person benefiting, which is how the normal world works. The normal business world works where you become some rock star, or you create something, or you invent something, or you do something and then you're rewarded. Well, the way this works is almost the opposite of that. Here's the $64 question. If you could be making $2 to $6 grand more per month in 6 months on top of what you're currently earning with whatever you're doing now, could you see yourself going to school to learn how to do that? Even if the school was 5 to 10 hours a week. Could you do that for 6 months? Basically, are you willing to take a 1 credit or 2, a class, a 3 credit class is 3 hours a week, or 6 credits, a part-time school semester, 1 semester to learn how to do this stuff? That's what this book is talking about. This book is the training that teaches you how to do that. This presentation, the book that we're reading from is called the 45-second presentation, or Napkin presentation. This presentation is simple. It explains the mechanics of how an organization can grow. It's a combination of building an organization, everyone retailing a minimum amount. Everyone retailing a minimum amount. Anyone can build a business with 10 friend customers. It doesn't take a salesperson to do this. When completed, your entire presentation could look like this. And again, we're on page 71. So if this isn't making any sense, you can go back, read this yourself. But basically, this is just showing if you help 5 people who become serious as distributors, is what they're called here. We call those coaches in our business. At the end of your first month, by the end of your 3rd month, if we help those 5, each help 5, you would have a team of 25 serious people. And then at the end of 6 months, there'd be a team of 125 serious people. And over here, and again, we're not going to review all this because this was in prior chapters, but this is showing you that you could have $50,000 of volume under you in your business. And it says the meaning of a serious distributor in this presentation is a distributor who has made the following commitment. They will simply get involved. Involvement is a big word here. For a minimum of 5 to 10 hours a week for 6 months. This is the way they can learn the business. A serious distributor in this presentation as a distributor has made the following commitment. They will get involved for a minimum of 5 to 10 hours per week for 6 months. This is the way they can learn the business. That's where we got cut off last week. That's page 72. Now this chapter, especially if this is the first recording you've watched or whatever, is a little bit crazy. So I'm going to fly through this one. The reason I'm making this recording is because the plan is later, we're going to come back. No one knows this yet, but I'm going to have Liz read a chapter with me, and we're going to make a recording of chapter 1. I'm going to have Brandy read a chapter with me, and me and Brandy are going to make a recording of chapter 2. And then we're going to have a chapter 3 with Rachel. I don't know how to pronounce her new married name, but the coach formerly known as Rachel Lohr, Rachel Annis, I think is how you pronounce it, and Danny and Stephanie and Andrea and Kara and Gabby, and anyone who wants to participate. We're going to make a training of the previous chapters, which we did not record. So this chapter is going to be the speed round. Here we go. Chapter 13, playing with numbers to make a point. So what do you do when your frontliner, this is your personally sponsored coach, reaches a point where they don't need you anymore? Refer to presentation 9, chapter 10. You are now free to sponsor someone else and work a new line. So at some point in this business, you'll sponsor someone, you'll help them get going, and then they won't need you anymore, and then you can do the same thing to the next person. The definition of a line is when your distributor's organization is at least 3 levels deep. That's when someone would be smart to then break off and do their own thing and have their own team. But until that point, it's good to stick together, work together. Instead of wondering who you're going to bring into your business, you now get to make a choice. Out of all the people who you've met while working down group with your first 5 distributors, serious distributors, you now get to select one of them who you get to help have an early retirement. It's exciting to realize you get to select someone who's going to get this opportunity. You carry a lot of the power when you understand and believe. You're going to get to pick one of your 5 serious people someday, and you're going to be able to say, I'm going to help you retire early. Now you have 6 serious distributors in your front line. Again, if you're not following along, it's because there were 12 other chapters about this. So now we have 6 serious coaches in your front line. Point out the difference between 5 and 6, which of course is 1. Continue down group. 6 times 6 equals 36, where 5 times 5 only equals 25. Difference between 36 and 25 is 11. Do that one more time. 5 times 25 is 125. 6 times 36 is 260. And the difference between 260 and 125 is 91. Your presentation would now look something like this. Again, we're not going to spend a lot of time. But instead of having 5 serious people in your front line, if you added 1 more eventually, again, this is you only recruited 5 over time. And then that turned into 125 because we helped them recruit 5. So eventually you're probably going to stumble upon someone else who wants to be serious. And now you have 6. Well, if we help all 6 recruit 6, and we help them and teach and train them, the chapters of this book, eventually 3 levels down, we're at 216 people on your team instead of 125. The difference really was only 1 person who you recruited. All programs that have breakaways will pay well beyond 5 levels. Guess what? Our program doesn't have breakaways, and we pay beyond 5 levels because we pay unlimited levels down. Most unilevel programs will pay down 7 levels, not us. Ours is unlimited, goes forever. Continue downline with the multiples of 5 to the 7th level. Your presentation will now look like this: 525, 125. This goes, basically this is, the concept is instead of recruiting 5 and having 5 serious people, which we've already done in the previous chapters, we have 1 more and the numbers just go even bigger, exponentially bigger. This presentation is easy to learn. Notice that when you get to 125, the last 3 digits alternate between 125 and 625. This is just letting you memorize this for if you were writing it on a napkin at a restaurant. This would continue no matter how many levels you go down. All you got to remember is 3, 15, 78. At this point in the presentation, you're going to suggest to your distributor that they complete the calculations on their own. In other words, multiply 216 times 6, which is 1296, subtract 625 from it. That's a difference of 671. Continue this process down to the 7th level. The impact will be much greater if you have them do this themselves. Ask this question: what do you think the answer will be at the 7th level? Most of them won't even come close. The difference at 7 levels down by you recruiting 1 more serious person is over 200,000. 201,811 to be precise. Your presentation will now look like this. So that's the difference when you get down 7 levels. If everybody just recruits 6 serious people. Again, that might seem insane to you. If you didn't recruit 1 serious person, you are someone who needs to read chapter 1 and chapter 2. And we're going to come back with those recordings, I promise. Obviously, 201,000 is quite a difference. You should mention to your distributor that once someone understands this, they can see the importance of working down their group. Many coaches do not understand this, working down group. Why be concerned with having so many people in your front line? You couldn't work with them anyway. Obviously, if you had 200,000 people that you personally recruited, you could not work with all of them. Besides sponsoring too many in your front line, that gets you involved in a game we call adding and subtracting. I would much rather play the game of multiplication, called multi-level marketing, or MLM for short. So if you are really good at recruiting and you recruit 1 person at a time and you add 1 person to your team at a time, you're playing the addition game. It's like playing checkers where other people are playing chess. I would much rather play the game of multiplication called multi-level marketing. Plus, what we want is your people to be having success and making money, then they're not going to go anywhere. If you have people who aren't having any success or making any money, there's a chance they're going to go away. All you have to do to play this game is to teach your people 3 deep. When you teach 3 deep, you'll actually end up 5 deep. For example, my name is Don. I sponsor Steve. I say to Steve, when getting a new person started, the most important thing you can teach them is to make sure that when they sponsor someone, get them 3 deep as soon as possible. Before they even know about it, this will automatically bring napkin presentation number 9 from a prior chapter on motivation into play. That was the one, if you were with us, where you can't have the pot of water boil no matter how hot the sun gets above the pot of water. The only way the pot of water boils is to light flames underneath it. Light a flame under their ASS. And once we have flames lit underneath people in the tree, in the pyramid, then that's when people are going to be excited and actually work. Steve is a good student. When he sponsors Pam, he helps her and supports her downline, making sure she works 3 deep. This is a variation from napkin presentation 2. She'll look like this. Dawn sponsors Steve. Steve sponsors Pam. Now we got to go 3 deep under Pam. Count the depth. You have 5 levels now below you. You taught Steve to make sure his people are 3 deep. Steve will now teach his people what you taught him, and now you're going to go even deeper. Can you see why teachers do better in MLM than salesmen? Most salesmen, when they get started building an organization, think it is a sponsor, sponsor, sponsor business. Actually, what it is a sponsor and teach, sponsor and teach, sponsor and teach business. You'll never make it in MLM until you teach someone else how to make it. If you continue your presentation showing the difference between 5 and 6 to the 4th level, you'll have 1296 minus 625 for a difference of 671. The total differences through the first 4 levels would be 774. Total distributors on the left would be 780. Total on the right would be 1554. Presentation will now look like this. Totals on the left, with everyone teaching and helping 5 is 780. Total on the right, when everyone has 6, is 1554, almost double, basically double. Okay, you're now on your own. Multiply 780 or 1554 times 10 customers. Because remember, all of these people are coaches, serious working coaches. What if they have some customers in there? Multiply that by 10 friend customers. Add the friend customers to the distributor customers. Now multiply this total by $30 per month, which is equivalent to 1 order of a customer buying Shakeology. Multiply the result times 12 months. Remember, I'm not even considering the wholesale buyers. How? Now can you see how one could retire in 1 to 3 years? You cannot do it sponsoring wide without going deep. This presentation is a continuation of napkin presentation 1. Whew. Okay, that's page 77. I hope that the numbers didn't overwhelm anyone, and I hope the concept makes sense. 78 is a blank piece of paper. And now, the part that your girl Liz, I hope, is paying attention for, because I saw her do a little bit of that getting late yawn thing there for a second there. And she's a numbers girl, so she's yawning. I know that the numbers sometimes will put people to sleep, especially if you're not a numbers person. But here we go. This, I hope, will get Liz excited, because this talks a little bit about what we could do in person at a brunch, at a meeting, at somewhere where we're actually talking to people. All right, business training sessions versus weekly opportunity meetings. Most people in MLM get their start by attending weekly opportunity meetings. Again, this book was written a long time ago where there was no video chatting. So play along, ride along with me. And remember, we can be creative and have these type of things occur on video chat or in actual person. Most people in MLM get their start by attending a weekly opportunity meeting. This is how they came into the business. So they think that the weekly opportunity meetings and getting people to them is what business is all about. After they've invited so many to the meeting, then they quit inviting. This is because they figure they have more than enough coming. Well, what really happens, as you all know, on the night of the meeting, no one shows up. This can be discouraging. A typical opportunity meeting will look something like this. Now, I've been to these in the 90s and early 2000s with other companies. So this is exactly what it looked like. Typical opportunity meeting would look something like this. A room is set up with chairs and theater style, either in a home or a hotel room. A blackboard or whiteboard is sitting on an easel up front. A person in a three-piece suit is giving a presentation about the company, the products, and of course the plan. This, in most cases, lasts for approximately 1.5 hours. Out of the 22 people who show up for the meeting, actually 17 of them are already coaches, and there's really only 3 new guests in the entire room. Most of those invited as guests didn't show up. The person putting on the meeting is talking to the guests. Makes sense, right? He or she is talking to only 3 of the actual 22 people who are there. Now, if you've been to a super weekend or super Saturday, you know that the majority of the people in the room are already coaches and there's a small amount of guests usually. So the speaker is talking to really only 3 of the 22 people when they're talking about recruiting new people in the business. For the distributor who has already been to the meeting several times and has seen the same presentation over and over, this can become very boring. One tends to get what we call meeting burnout. The meetings I would go to, it was the same meeting. It was put on by a different person each week, but it was the exact same content. So it did get pretty boring and you had to kind of pick yourself up and show excitement for the guests. Now, thank goodness we don't really have boring meetings in our company. They're pretty fun when we go to our events. So this has been a big improvement over the old school business meetings I used to attend in a different company. During the presentation, you keep an eye on those guests and you notice when they nod positive or when the speaker's talking about the company, the products, and the plan. With all this positive body language, why do your guests sometimes turn down the opportunity when asked if they see themselves getting started? Doesn't make any sense. That they could like everything, they could nod, and that they could still say no. The reason for the no is simple. This is important, people. So if you weren't paying attention on the recording, wake up, everyone watching the recording. The reason for the no is simple. They look at the person who's putting on the presentation as already being successful. And they think that for themselves to be successful, they're going to have to put on a meeting. Maybe not right away, but sometime they think that they're going to have to put on their own meeting. A thing most people fear, even more than a fear of dying. They fear getting up in front of a group of people and speaking. Now you can understand why they would turn down the opportunity you've offered. By the way, that's an important point. They've said no to the opportunity, not to you personally. Don't let these no's discourage you. And look, Liz, this book's laying right next to me, the book that we have. Go for No. You know how many times I've read it? 0. You know why? Because it just seems negative to me, so I don't like the title, so I don't even open it and read it. But there's a philosophy, and I don't want to get into it because I never read the book, but it's that the more people you ask, the more people you can get to tell you no, the closer you get to a yes. I think that's the concept in that book. But anyway, don't take those no's personally. Don't let them discourage you because they're not really saying no to you as a person. They're saying no, or not yet, or not right now to the opportunity. I can prove this point while I'm doing seminars. I say, since I'm limited for time, I only have time to call on one person. Would the people who would like to come up and talk about anything they choose for the next 3 minutes, please raise your hand? Of course, very few, less than 5% would ever raise their hand. You should see the look of relief on their faces of those who did when I tell them I was only kidding. I know hundreds of people who can carry on a conversation with a friend over a cup of coffee. These same people will freak out at even the thought of getting up in front of a group. Even the size of the group doesn't make a difference. Some company presidents even break out in a cold sweat when merely getting up in front of their board of directors and making a presentation to the stockholders. How would you like to avoid this fear when building your organization? How would you like to have exciting weekly opportunity brunches? You can. And this also reminds me about like when, some of us are making videos of us working out. I've heard it. I'm sure you guys have heard it too. The person will say, well, I'm not going to make a video of myself working out, like the person we're trying to recruit. But anyway, that's a different topic. How would you like to avoid this fear when building an organization? How would you like to have exciting weekly brunches? You can. Once you understand how, your organization will grow many times faster. We're at the 8-minute mark of our 8 minutes left on our clock tonight. We meet with our prospects one-on-one at a sizzle session. See Chapter 9, Napkin Presentation 8, called Sizzle Sessions. We prefer to meet in a restaurant at an off time for the restaurant. We invite our guests to bring a tape recorder. Tape recorder. They can use the tape to review the presentation later or as a tool to help them sponsor their friends. So, like, guys, we can literally do this. Stick with me. They could video us at the brunch, or they can audio record us at the brunch. I always prefer that they've read the book, How to Build a Large, Successful, Multi-Level Marketing Organization, prior to meeting with them. This can save you a considerable amount of time. If they already know how to drive before you meet with them, it's easier to help them select the vehicle. Refer to Napkin Presentation 3 in Chapter 4. After some idle conversation about the benefits of MLM, tell them you'd like to give them a 20-minute presentation about your company, products, and plan. Since you announced that it's going to take 20 minutes, it points out that anyone can learn to give a 20-minute presentation. Besides, until they learn it, all they have to do is play the tape for their friends. If it takes you an hour and a half to present your company, products, and plan, you may become too selective about who you're making appointments with. How many 90-minute appointments are you up to really doing? When you get your presentation down to 20 minutes, you can be productive during a coffee break or make a couple of presentations during a lunch break. I would break the 20-minute presentation down as follows. 3 minutes to talk about the company, 7 to talk about the products, give some samples. Allow about 10 minutes to explain the marketing plan. Break your plan into several parts. In most cases, you will not need to explain the latter parts to get your person started. Remember, they've made a commitment to go back to school already for 5 to 10 hours a week to learn the business. During your first meeting, don't try to show them everything. They're going to learn it in the next 6 months. The two most important words in MLM are sponsor and teach. The least important word is sell. Sell should be replaced with the word share. The next 3 words of utmost importance are expose, involve, and upgrade. First, you expose a person to your business. Then you get them involved for 5 to 10 hours a week over the next 6 months. Their knowledge and motivation as to where they want to go in the business will upgrade as they go along. They may come in thinking about making an additional $300 to $500 a month, but after being involved for 6 months, their thinking will probably be upgraded to making several $1,000s a month. If your prospect forgets his tape recorder, bring yours. Let them keep the tape when you're finished. When you start your 20-minute presentation, ask them to write down any questions they might have. Explain you will answer them when you are finished. Point out that if you had to answer questions during the presentation, you couldn't keep it to 20 minutes. The tape that you give your distributor gives you a valid reason for keeping your presentation orderly without interruption every 2 minutes. The tape presentation will also be orderly. If you were to answer one question during the presentation, it would be like trying to let only one of several cats out of the bag. Once you start jumping around, you'll lose the continuity of your presentation. If your prospect shows any hesitation as to whether they could do the business, simply say to them, before you make your final decision, why don't you come to our weekly training session and see how we train our people? Purpose of these training sessions is to teach your distributors how to sit down with a friend over a cup of coffee, give a 20-minute presentation about your company products plan. Entire training session should not ever last more than 1 hour. Unlike an opportunity meeting, in a weekly training session, you're directing your conversation towards the people already on your team rather than towards the guests. So this is important here. This would mean we would have our coaches in a room, a couple of them, and we'd be training our coaches. We direct the conversation towards the coaches rather than towards the guests. Have you ever noticed how much more believable a conversation is when you're listening to it listening in on it rather than having it directed to you. While you're teaching your distributors how to present your company products and marketing plan, your guests are also getting trained. The net result of this style of teaching is that now you have 19 distributors who are better prepared to share the opportunity, and 3 guests who get involved because they can visualize themselves doing the business. One person can be the trainer for the entire city, so you never project the idea that one person is going to then have to get up in front of a group of rooms to be successful. In other words, we can make somebody be the expert, and everyone else doesn't have to be. It's very important to get your distributors together at least once a week. Remember Napkin presentation 8 on sizzle sessions. You need to keep your logs together to promote the proper energy so your distributors will be more effective when talking to their friends. It's not necessary to spend a lot of money for a meeting or facilities. There are many restaurants that have a back or side room you can use at no extra charge. Simply talk to the manager and explain to him you have a group of people you like to get together on a weekly basis. Start your meetings by 8, could be done by 9:30. You can invite your people to come early, 6:30 to 7. They could have dinner before the meeting. The manager won't need to put extra help on since the orders can go in as each person arrives. Also, if the waitress would get busy, you're not concerned about very speedy service. The restaurant manager and or owner would be happy with this arrangement, and so would the waitress. Finally, be sure to encourage your people to tip well. This arrangement should not cost anything above your own meal and tip. Distributors who do not wish to eat, they could come after dinner at 7:45. We found with this type of social setting, it's very comfortable for your distributors to have a guest. You may even want to offer to buy your guest dinner or coffee. This makes your meals or coffees a deductible business expense. Once they've signed up, they're on their own. 2-minute warning. It's okay to invite your guests to your training meeting, even if they've not yet seen your 20-minute presentation. They'll see it as an instructor is teaching the distributors how to present it. When making your invitations, emphasize they're coming to a training session and not an opportunity meeting. They'll see the opportunity during the training. Woohoo! Page 84, done. Next week, we cover chapter 15, important phrases and handling objections. All right, Liz, thank you for joining. I hope Brandy's okay. Stop in the share. Oh, Brandy's back. I didn't know you were even back. Hello, Brandy. We're under a minute on our timer. You may or may not have heard, I thanked you for offering to host the team Sunday, November 3rd, right there where she's sitting at Brandy's house. You can talk if you like. Gotta be quick.
I'm good. I lost connection for a second and then jumped back on.
I didn't even know you were back on. Well, hello again. I only see Liz earlier. Okay, so that's that. I hope you guys liked that chapter. To me, that was a little bit of a boring one, but the next one's good. Trust me. I thought we were going to get kicked off. Usually if someone else tries to talk, we get kicked off.
Yeah. Do you guys have your costumes for Saturday?
He has like 18 costumes in his basement.
My mom stole them and sold them.
Oh, she did not sell them.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one?
Well, she said she was going to. I don't know if she actually